AITA for not wanting to be involved with the child I helped conceive. I got pregnant in high school. When I was 17, I'm just turning 30 now. I wanted an abortion and my boyfriend begged, guilted, begged me to carry the fetus to term and that he would raise the baby himself. He involved his parents, who involved my parents. And since my parents were against abortion, they agreed on my behalf that this is what would happen. I was naive at the time about how horrible pregnancy and delivery would be with a baby you don't want. I was miserable, in pain, anxious, isolated, and sick the whole time. Delivery was a nightmare. The whole process was so traumatic that I've been diagnosed with PTSD from it, for which I've been in therapy for the last 4 years. In my country, if both parents are 18 and both agree to it, one parent can legally give up parental obligations. So I did that. I haven't regretted it for a minute. I do regret not getting an abortion because of the trauma it caused me. I do not regret giving up parental rights. I do not think about this child. I do not think of myself as having a child. I'm not a mother. I have never met the child and never want to. Last month, my ex-boyfriend contacted me again through my parents because he and his wife have split up, and now that his daughter is 12, she wants to know about the circumstances of her birth. I told him that we did things according to his wishes and I never ever want contact with his child and don't want him to tell her my name or contact information. He and my parents are furious and my parents also admitted they thought I'd come around. They want to be in his child's life, but want me to also be a part of it. I won't. Am I the asshole here? All I have done is what I have always said I would do. Note, sorry. English isn't my first language. I also tried to talk this out on another forum, and it turned into a very US-centric conversation about abortion and child support, but none of that applies as I'm not from US, and we do not have the same type of child support laws. NTA, no one had any right to force you to carry that child to term. He wanted a kid so bad. It's his responsibility to explain to her the circumstances of her birth. He's got a voice and a memory, doesn't he? Then why does he need your help? Even though your family doesn't support you. Know that countless strangers on the internet, including me, do. Thank you. That means a lot. I have been in intense therapy to deal with this, including the resentment toward my parents for basically forcing me into this, and him for telling my parents. I'm appalled that even 12 years later he's running to my parents to try to control me. NTA. I love it. Nothing else needs to be said. NTA. This squarely falls in the category of circumstances where people agree to what you say hoping you'd change your opinion later and then turn around and act surprised when you don't. You're not an asshole. You didn't want the child. The whole process took a long time for you to heal from both physically and emotionally. I feel your parents and your ex are being manipulative. You're allowed to say no. It will not make you an asshole. It might be hard on the child, but objectively you are not an asshole. You got put through a situation via family pressure which you didn't want. You are well within your rights to say no now. On the flip side, you can't be upset surprised if your parents still stay in touch with their grandchild, which possibly might happen. Sorry. Sucks to be in your shoes. On the flip side, you can't be upset if your parents still stay in touch with their grandchild, which possibly might happen. I disagree strongly. It sounds like Op was traumatized by the experience and that her parents are incredibly inconsiderate, insisting they thought she'd come around. For instance, I think it's more accurate to say Op shouldn't be surprised if her crappy parents do this, and she has the right to be upset. Oh. And Op even says in a comment here that she does not want them in contact with the child and that they know this. Yeah. TTA. NTA, since that is the term of the agreement everyone originally agreed to, as well as not your problem, he's a single parent now. He and your parents can resolve this without you. NTA. Your terms were clear. They thought you changed your mind or whatever. They suck. Dad is only reaching out because his wife left and he has no one to parent his kid. I guarantee it. NTA. You didn't want the baby in the first place and you've been very clear about not wanting to be involved with the child and you're not even legally obliged. Your ex and parents are being manipulative and always have been. I really hope you'll get through this in a good way. NTA. You laid out from the outset that you didn't want the child. And while you carried her to term etc, you never gave the impression that you wanted to be part of the child's life. He can tell the child the circumstances of her birth without giving your personal information. NTA. Your own well-being trumps that of anybody else. Yes. Your child has rights and wishes and feelings. But they don't trump yours. You did what you had to survive, and you need to continue to do so. It's usually recommended to write a letter detailing medical information and the wish to be left alone for your own well-being, while telling the child that it's not personal. But your ex-BF knows the story and probably also the medical history. However, if you want to do this or share your story in a letter, work it through with your therapist. I can't believe how much your parents and ex-BF suck. Both in what they did back then and the horrible choices they are giving you now. NTA. I think you've got fantastic responses here. Not at all the onslaught of awfulness I thought I might find when I clicked the comments. I'm ready to accept my judgment if it turns toward me being an asshole, but I find that most people so far are just applying personal baggage or US law to my situation. NTA. Read this. HTTPS link basically the same situation, but from your asshole ex's perspective. I think you might find the comments really helpful. He got a lot of audacity calling her a deadbeat when she paying 125% over the court order amount of child support, all that money she's giving, and he still can't afford a babysitter or a nanny? How the fuck is it her problem when she flat told him and the courts that she is just an egg donor that wants no tight custody nor visitation rights? He's lucky to get child support from her, because if she truly had her way, she wouldn't pay that either, and who could blame her? NTA and all the people in this thread trying to pretend that genetics equals family are doing a wild disservice to children who were adopted, children who are the products of sperm and egg donations, and children who have cut contact with their families due to abuse. I'm sorry for what you had to go through, op. I know our situations are different, but as someone who also struggles with severe PTSD, I hope this is all over with quickly for you and you can continue healing. A friggin' men. Genetics is important in dealing with medical issues and hereditary conditions. It doesn't inherently convey any kind of bond, short of a purely hormonal one. That bond comes from choice and acceptance, from love and care. All of those are volitional things. NTA. But let's be clear. You are not the asshole, your parents are the asshole, your ex is the asshole, your biological offspring is not the asshole. It is natural to want to know who gave birth to you. And she has no way of knowing at this point that you were effectively coerced into giving birth to her. I'm not telling you this because I think you have any obligations to be a parent to this girl. But I think you would be wise to have a short and sweet speech prepared if this girl continues to try to track you down. Because she will probably keep trying, and your parents seem to want you to be involved and may sabotage your insistence on distance. To be clear, you don't owe the girl a speech, i.e., you wouldn't be an asshole for not having one. But you would likely save yourself potential pain and panic by being prepared with one if the girl ends up cornering you. Something like, I did not want to have a child. Pregnancy and birth were extremely traumatic for me. Having your father be your only parent was, and continues to be, in everyone's best interest would be appropriate. And in family medical history, if you are feeling particularly like you want to earn an on Asshole of the Year award, this would be good for you to compile anyways for your own benefit. So getting it together and passing on a copy would be wise. All I have done is what I have always said I would do. NTA. As it is, you shouldn't have been pressured to carry the kid. You did way more than your fair share already. You should be firm in staying out of the kid's life. He and my parents are furious, and my parents also admitted they thought I'd come around. Apostrophe. Not your problem. Tell them you don't care how they feel and to stop bringing it up. The conversation is over. Sorry. English isn't my first language. You, like literally every person I've ever seen write this, have a much better grasp of English than many people I know from here. NTA. Poor kid though. My mom wanted to abort me and wants nothing to do with me. Yay, that's a hard pill to swallow. I guess at one point you would be thankful for the dad and parents for at least giving you life. Actions have consequences. Imagine that. NTA. So I'm an adopted child. It was an open adoption. So I got letters and pictures from my bio parents throughout my life. I finally met them for the first time about 5 years ago. I almost wish I never did, because it is so painfully obvious that my biological mother wants absolutely nothing to do with me. I have tried so hard to have a relationship with her, but have gotten nowhere, and I honestly wish she would just tell me that she wants nothing to do with me instead of pretending for someone else's benefit. This has exacerbated the already agonizing fear of abandonment and feeling that there is something wrong with me. And I've realized that there may be trauma for my bio mom as well. You outlined your terms. It's also extremely unfair that you were forced to carry a child you didn't want in the first place. But those terms should absolutely be respected, and as someone who has sort of had experience in this area, forcing a relationship is not going to do anything except be super traumatic for both of you. Your ex is more than capable of explaining the situation, and your parents need to respect the decision you made and learn to live with the consequence of the choice they pretty much forced on you. You are absolutely not the asshole for maintaining a boundary that you established a long time ago. I'm sorry you are going through this. There's been way too many violent threats removed in just the past hour for this to remain open. Sorry dudes. Next time, be better. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more future videos.